Started. If Taylor, if you're ready, are we up now? All right. Well, good morning. Welcome to the June 27th, 2022 meeting. Are we up now? All right. Public Infrastructure. Well, good morning. Welcome to the June 27th, 2022 meeting. Somebody has their Public Infrastructure. Well, good morning. Welcome to the June 27th, 2022. I sound bad enough the first time. Their Public Infrastructure. Well, good morning. Welcome to the June 27th, 2022. We're
going to have a meeting several times, apparently.
Yeah, we'll be back in just a second here. We'll be back in just a second.
I saw something like this on 60 Minutes last night. It's a frickin' attack of the microwave. Did you see that? I did not. It's a microwave that they use Russians.
Okay, let me try. Okay, great. Well, welcome again to the Public Infrastructure meeting for June 27th, 2022. Okay, great. Well, welcome again to the Public Infrastructure meeting for June 27th, 2022. Okay, great. Well, welcome again to the Public Infrastructure meeting for June 27th, 2022. Okay, great. Well, welcome again to the Is everyone's volume down on their computer? Is everyone's volume down? Okay, yeah, if everyone could just check that their thing was muted if they're on Zoom or something. Okay, yeah, if everyone could just check that their thing was muted if they're on Zoom or something.
Does somebody have it on Facebook?
Okay, yeah, if everyone could just check that their thing was muted if they're on Zoom or something.
Anybody have it on Facebook in here on your deal?
Okay, yeah, if everyone could just check that their thing was muted if they're on Zoom or something.
Anybody have it on Facebook in here on your deal?
Okay, yeah, if everyone could just check that their thing was muted if they're.
Everything is repeating.
Probably got a bad.
Yeah, if everyone could please make certain if they're on Zoom that it is muted.
Probably a bad case of Bunholio or something,
Oh, okay.
wouldn't you think?
What's that?
Bad case of Bunholio or something. Right?
Yes, yes. So how, big success I hear on Friday night? Neil's telling me about.
I probably won't be able to stay, Cocker and I probably won't be able to stay in town much longer. We're getting calls.
Well, that's, yeah, not for that, not to have anything to do with what you did Friday night.
The price of apartments in New York are just really.
My phone hadn't stopped ringing.
Yeah, I bet.
Yes, but I think we got that issue resolved.
You got her now? Want to go back on then?
Yeah,
or-
yeah, we're ready.
Okay. All right, well, let's try this one more time. Welcome to the June 27th, 2022 meeting of the Public Infrastructure Committee. My name is Tony Emerson. I represent District 4, and I have the honor of chairing the committee. If the two other people could please introduce themselves.
Neil Dobler, District 7.
Mike Lesher, District 9.
All right. First item of business is to approve the minutes from the May 17th, 2022 meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, that passes 3-0. The next item on our list is to replacing the Topeka Boulevard clocks with the city flag medallions, but at the request of staff, that is being pulled.
That is correct. We are going to order the new controllers for the clocks, and then we will also be ordering the new LED lighting for the clocks. And once those are in, we'll get those installed.
Fantastic, thank you for that. So the next item then is the 2023 half-cent sales tax program and infill sidewalk resolution. Mr. City Manager?
I'll turn it over to Braxton.
Great.
Okay.
The resolution adopting the CIP requires specific approval of half-cent sales tax projects over $250,000, as well as specific projects in other programs. What we're going to be presenting to you is the resolution and the list of projects that we would like to get specific approval for 2023, and one project for 2024 that we need to do design in 2023. So what we're going to go over real quickly is the Pavement, Rehab, and Reconstruction Program. We're going to talk about the Contracted Preventative Maintenance Program, which is the crack sealing and microsurfacing, and then curb and gutter and alley replacement programs, as well as ADA ramp and infill sidewalk. So starting with the Pavement Rehab Program, most of these projects are mill and overlay with some full-depth patching, and that includes the Central Highland Park neighborhood. In High Crest, most of that project is going to be mill and overlay with full-depth patching. However, we are going to do complete reconstruction of 31st from Adams to Fremont. The work in the High Crest will be spread out over 2 years. Additionally, we've got some waterline work that we are going to be doing as part of that to replace an old 10-inch water line. Knollwood, McVicker 2, Burlingame, again, mill and overlay with a little bit of full-depth patching. Same thing in Summerfield. Southwest 29th Street. This is a Band-Aid where we're going to go in and do a little mill and overlay and limited full-depth patch to try to keep this road serviceable until reconstruction, which will be in 2028 or after. 25th Street, Urish to Kings Row. This is kind of a mixed bag, some reconstruction because the road base is just absolutely shot on that, and then where we can get by with mill and overlay and curb and gutter, we will. 10th, Urish to Gerald Lane. This is basically just going to extend mill and overlay from Gerald Lane to Wanamaker. That was part of the 2023. And then Goodyear Road, we have just some very badly failing concrete pavement underneath at US 24 that we need to take care of because there is a lot of very heavy truck traffic coming from Goodyear onto 24. And that is a quick overview other than River Road, which is, we're seeking approval of the design for River Road, which we hope to be able to accomplish with mill and overlay and some limited full-depth patching. This project, we need to get in design now because we really need to make the project happen in 2024 because we recognize that River Road is going to be carrying some traffic once we get Polk Quincy Viaduct closed, which will be for 2025 and 2026. And so with that, I'll stand for any questions on the Pavement Rehab and Reconstruction Program.
Any questions from the committee? Councilman Dobler?
Thank you, Chair. Braxton, 29th Street from Arrowhead to Wanamaker, is it going to look like this section you just did from Shunga to?
Yes, sir.
Great, because that looks great. I don't know, for some reason it actually seems wider. The lanes seem wider, maybe because we overlaid into the gutters or something, but fantastic job, and yeah, looking forward to seeing that happen. Thanks.
Councilman Lesser, do you have a question?
Quick question. What's the schedule on the 17th Street I-470 bridge to Wanamaker? Where is that on our?
We're in the process of getting that out on the street to bid.
Okay.
Last I understood, there was our engineer's estimate was slightly higher than the funding that we had available for the program, so we were going back, working with finance to see which program we could make an adjustment to be able to identify the additional funding.
Okay.
Unfortunately, with the increases in asphalt prices, we're struggling now in terms of what we had initially had programmed in for project budgets is not going as far as what we had hoped even a year ago.
Is the plan then there to go back with asphalt instead of the concrete? It's concrete now there.
Concrete.
That concrete, okay.
And obviously, getting such a late start, we're going to have to overwinter that project, and we do have some water line that's going to be part of that. So once we get bids, get a contractor, then we'll need to sit down and figure out what's logical in terms of what we can accomplish this construction season versus next, because we can't have that road torn up after Thanksgiving,
Right.
because there's just a tremendous amount of traffic that Wanamaker corridor generates during the holiday season.
Great, great. The only thing I would ask, just keep an eye on it. I get calls all the time. It seems to, something pops, so just keep an eye on it.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
And I see Councilwoman Valdivia Alcala is on here. Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Thank you, Chair. Braxton, can we just go back real quick to River Road? Tell me what you're waiting for the approval on. Can you go over that again?
Yes, ma'am. We need the governing body to approve the project because it's under the half-cent sales tax. And what our specific ask is to approve $100,000 for the design of River Road so that we can accomplish the design in 2023 and have that queued up for construction in 2024. Obviously, as part of the next year's list of projects, we will be asking for approval for River Road construction.
Okay, and how long do you think before we'll vote on that? Is there any idea, or is that something I ask city manager?
My guess is that if the committee approves the resolution today, usually they will direct staff to put it on the council agenda for the first or second meeting in July.
Okay, thank you, Braxton. And I would say a couple of things. Committee, I just want you to know that as far as the, two hats that Braxton has been wearing for utilities and with Public Works, here in Oakland and in North Topeka and many parts of my district, I just want to say he has done a very good job. His responsiveness to concerns, emails, calls, et cetera, is bar none. So I hope that, for Public Works Director, when that's finalized, we can find someone as efficient as he has been. And he is very sensitive as well to things that come up that people have deep concerns about and responding to those. The other thing is that I'm just going to put in a deep, yes, let's support the River Road design, because I think if any of you would come, through here, through River Road, you definitely know that it needs some serious work. Not only that, but we're looking at having the foresight to anticipate what is to come. So this is something that I think is wonderful to see in here so soon. And again, kudos to utilities and Public Works. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other questions? All right, well, I would entertain a motion on this item.
Actually, we just got a couple more slides
I'm sorry?
to get through.
Okay.
Be
All right,
patient, please.
I'd entertain going on then.
I'll second that motion.
That was kind of entertaining.
So the next one we're going to talk about briefly is the 2023 contracted preventative maintenance. This is the crack sealing and the microsurfacing. Staff at the request of council is putting together materials relative to our justification for the microsurfacing program. Once we've gotten those together, we will be sharing those with the city manager and the governing body. In the meantime, we have divided the city into 4 quadrants along north-south along Topeka Boulevard and then east-west along 21st Street. And for north of 21st and east of Topeka Boulevard will be the microsurfacing for the 2023 year. And then we will be doing the crack sealing north of 21st and west of Topeka Boulevard. This will be in preparation for microsurfacing for the following year. So what we do is we go in, crack seal 1 year, following year, microsurfacing. Microsurfacing is not a panacea. It is not a silver bullet. It is limited in application to those streets that have a PCI of 70 or better. The old philosophy for asset management in pavement was worst first, always reconstruction. That has changed over the last decade, and basically it is a balanced approach that we take. Some reconstruction, some mill and overlay, and some microsurfacing. Obviously, the microsurfacing, the concept is keep your good streets good so that you don't have to let them degrade to the point where it's mill and overlay or full depth reconstruction. Next slide.
Question on that,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
Of the 2 million, can you give me basic breakdown of crack seal versus microsurfacing?
50/50, 70/30, 70% microsurfacing, 30% crack sealing.
I know we're going to be getting some more information. I know you didn't bring this to this process to us. What's your initial thoughts on the ROI on 70% of $2 million for microsurfacing?
My initial thought is that it is a very valuable part of our total toolbox in terms of pavement management. The analogy that I use is when you see those businesses that have really good-looking parking lots, that's because they go in and they periodically seal those parking lots. So if you can prevent that moisture from getting into that pavement, which is what's going to do that freeze-thaw and what's going to cause that asphalt to spall, that's where you see your investment pay off. So a little bit of money up front for that maintenance to effectively seal coat it, as opposed to waiting for that asphalt to badly alligator, decompose, and then having to go in and either mill and overlay or full depth replacement. So that's my initial thought. Obviously, we're putting together materials. We'll see if that pans out. And basically, my thought is to lay out the facts to you. Ultimately, it's a policy decision that you guys make. We come to you with recommendations.
That's fair enough. I equate it to staining a deck with a oil base versus a latex base, and I've learned I don't get the return on investment with the with the water, so that's kind of where I was getting at. If you,
Yep.
obviously, I think it does, whether it works or not, whether it helps or not, I don't think is a question. I'm anxious to see if at the end of the day, when you get all the data, if the return on investment is what you still think is.
Correct. So
If that makes sense.
basically, the talking points are 3 to 7 years of extension of the life of the pavement. 7 years if it's in a residential neighborhood that doesn't see high volume of traffic. 3 years if you're looking at a collector or arterial.
Thank you.
Okay. Turning then to curb and gutter. So annual curb and gutter program, 1.25 million. I will brag on staff, particularly Vince Sheets, who has done a tremendous job in terms of having taken over curb and gutter last year, in terms of getting through a major backlog and getting us caught up. The alley repair program, $500,000. Again, what we've had programming for budgeting for the last several program years. That will allow us to do 3, maybe 4 alleys. Our policy is we're not adding any additional concrete alleys to our inventory. If it's a gravel or chip alley, we are grading, maintaining those. But if it's an existing concrete alley that needs to be replaced, then we're going in and replacing that. And then I'll brag on staff, did a very good job of putting together a data-driven scoring system relative to the alley replacement, taking into consideration whether it serves residences, businesses, condition of it, whether there are utilities underneath that are in disrepair, literally taking into a lot of very good factors to come up with a data-driven decision in terms of which alleys that we do. Questions on curb and gutter or alleys?
Please, go ahead.
No, I'm good.
Oh.
Chair?
Yes, go ahead, Councilwoman.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Braxton, can you tell me, I think I heard you right, has 500,000 been the annual budget for some time?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and do we know, can you say off the top of your head if there is ever any leftover funds? Or that 500,000 is usually spent more quickly than not?
Let's put it this way, we don't have any problem selecting enough alleys to burn through the 500,000. If we have money left over, then we would basically use any remaining fund and carry it forward to the subsequent year, and then make sure, so we don't have money just sitting around on this.
Okay, and one other question I have, do we find that we are doing the same alleys over and over again, or is it kind of being spread out across the city where there are, whatever parts of the city have more alleys? All I know is Oakland and East Topeka have a lot of alleys, but.
Yes, ma'am. To answer your first question, no, we're not doing the same alleys over and over again. Because of the trash trucks, we go back with a concrete alley. And so in an alley application, I would expect the average service life of that to be in the 20 to 30 years. As to the selection of those, staff is very sensitive to the fact that not only do we have to make a data-driven decision as to the condition of alleys, but we also have to be very sensitive to the fact that we have 9 council members in 9 council districts. And so we always try to take a position where we are spreading the wealth, as it were, and not just heavily investing in one council district.
I understand. And is there any priority when you are choosing alleys? I mean, not all, I'm thinking about Oakland, that not all alleys folks use as a way to get into their back garage, but a lot do. And so that kind of wear and tear that can happen in addition to the dump trucks that, you know, really destroy the alleys, I believe, much more quickly than normal. Is any of that in a grading system on how alleys are selected?
We don't do a trip generation, ma'am, but certainly we do take into consideration whether those alleys are serving garages or if they are serving businesses.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Braxton. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. Please continue, Mr. Copley.
Moving on to the ADA ramp program. We partnered the ADA ramp program with the Infill Sidewalk pedestrian plan so that we have, and the driver is the Infill Sidewalk pedestrian plan. And that is, the planning department put a great deal of time and effort into identifying where we have the needs for infill sidewalks and basically created a heat map. And so that is the driver. For 2023, the targeted neighborhoods are Central Highland Park and Oakland. And so the ADA ramp program also, not coincidentally, is Central Highland Park and Oakland, so that we can get the biggest bang for our buck as we're going in and filling in missing sidewalks to provide for that pedestrian connectivity. We want to make sure that we are ADA compliant. Happy to stand for any questions on ADA ramp program or the sidewalk pedestrian plan.
Councilman Dover?
Thank you, Chair. Braxton, we've been replacing existing sidewalk intersection areas with ADA ramps for a number of years now. Where are we in ultimately having sidewalk ramps everywhere, ADA ramps everywhere?
We'll get that information and share it with the committee. I don't have that off the top of my head.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions on this?
No, and since I've already covered the sidewalk pedestrian plan, which is the next slide. We'll move to the last slide, which is I'll gladly stand for any questions on our proposed projects for the half-cent sales tax and other projects that require specific approval by the governing body.
Any questions on those? Okay, seeing none, I think we're good.
All right, I think a motion would be in order.
Yeah. Okay, now, I would entertain a motion on this item.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Can I have a motion and a second to approve? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passes 3-0. Thank you, Mr. Copley. And the next item is the CIP Amendment Updates, and I'm sure that's Mr. Copley as well.
Yes, it is. After the close review of the CIP and a couple of the programs contained in the CIP, we realized that we had two areas that were of major concern. The first of those was the downtown street improvement program had the incorrect program description. It was only Kansas Avenue from 2nd until 6th. That was the only project that was described. We have a separate freestanding project for Kansas Avenue from 4th to 6th, so we didn't need the program to describe it. The intent of the program is to be able to have funds, and the majority of the funding for this is GO to the tune of 700,000 or 750,000, and then 100,000 of half-cent sales tax. The intent of the program is to have funds available, for example, on Quincy 6th to 8th or Quincy 8th to 10th, where we had some money set aside for half-cent sales tax for mill and overlay, but we needed additional work to make improvements to the geometry of the intersection at 7th and Quincy by providing bulb outs. We're going to be removing the traffic signal there, things that could not be done with half-cent sales tax. So that's the intent of this program, which is to basically have a pot of money if we want to make improvements that would otherwise not be half-cent sales tax eligible, whether that's for adding signals, pedestrian crossings, bulb outs, lane narrowing. So those are the sorts of things. So the revised description for this gets us to the true intent of the program, which is to have this funding source as we're going through and identifying projects in the downtown area so that we can come up with a comprehensive project that accomplishes all of our goals.
Councilman Dobler.
Braxton, this project looks like it's gonna take 4 years, is that what I'm seeing?
So it's a program, and yes, we have, it's actually 5 years of funding identified
5 years.
as we make selections of projects that are recommended under the downtown improvement plan, then this would be money that would allow us to supplement those.
So I guess just driving downtown today, I realize you better add about 10 minutes getting from anywhere to downtown, and then like getting to the LEC, you wind around because I-70, streets under I-70 are closed off right now. And 2025, I believe, is the start of the Pope Quincy project. Are we coordinating with KDOT so we're not, we don't end up with detours running over parts of downtown that are going to be under construction with this project? It just seems like a lot's going to be going on in a limited area over the next 3 or 4 or 5 years, and I just want to make sure we're coordinating all that. I'm sure we are, but I guess I'd feel better knowing that that's the case.
Yes, sir. I will say that because of the Polk Quincy Viaduct project, our cooperation and our communication with KDOT is better than it has ever been. Currently, I personally am on a call every morning at 8 a.m. with them to basically talk through what we're doing on Port Quincy. Just an update for you. Contractor is securing materials, hopes to get started Thursday with the rail removal. And by end of next week, we hope to have the rails removed over Kansas Avenue so that we can remove the temporary traffic control and get Kansas Avenue open. KDOT has recognized that that's critical for us to be able to not have the entire downtown bottlenecked to effectively 2 streets. And so they agreed to target that on the rail removal as the first thing that they were doing.
Thanks, Braxton.
Any other questions? Councilman Lesser?
Okay, really briefly, the second project that we would like to have amended as part of this resolution is the Tyler project. And this is specifically the third phase of Tyler at Northwest Beverly. This was initially in construction or designed for 2024, construction for 2025. The city has been able to obtain a grant from KDOT for the construction of a 10-foot wide shared use path as part of the Tyler project that's going on right now that would also put the path where this phase at Beverly is going to be. Now, it is not practical to go in and do the amount of cut that we would need and construct a 10-foot wide path and then have any chance of that path surviving construction 2 years from now. So it really makes the most sense to move the construction of this phase 3 of Tyler up until 2023. So next year, when we're doing that shared use path, we do it as part of the reconstruction of this section of Tyler. So simply put, we're trying to leverage and not lose those KDOT funds, and it makes sense. Our consultant has very nearly completed the design, so we're in good shape for getting that out onto the street late this year so that we're queued up, ready to go for construction season of 2023.
Any questions? Councilwoman Valdivia Alcala, we lost your camera, but I didn't know if you were probably already aware of this, but didn't know if you had any questions. Or is anyone else? Okay. And so this, you also need an approval, correct?
Yes, sir.
These changes, okay.
Move approval. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second for approval of this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The resolution passes 3-0. Are there any other items?
Nothing from Public Works or Utilities.
Mr. Calvi, you will be happy to know I am trying to get you a part-time job at nights.
Thank
So-
you, yes.
So, I also echo what the councilwoman said. You're working your butt off and appreciate you're always very responsive. And even more so, maybe if we get you a third job, maybe it'd even be better. So that might not be a bad idea. Any other items? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just, in kind of the same light, I've had probably more comments from folks in my district on the 29th Street project from Arrowhead to Shunga, how quickly that happened. It was tight for 2 or 3 days, and then voila, we have a street that looks great. So kudos to the Public Works folks, engineering, and frankly, the contractor on that one as well. Thanks.
All right. The only other item we need to talk about is, it shows our next meeting being on,
July 19th.
yes, on July 19th. We have a conflict with that date. So we're looking at moving that to the following Tuesday. So, and I know Liz is working on finalizing that schedule, but just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention that will not be on the 19th. All right, well, seeing no other business in front of us, we are hereby adjourned. Thanks, everyone.